Hey Free Bats, it's Freelee, the Banana Girl here. Welcome to another episode. So are you shocked to see kangaroos with snow on their back? I know some of you probably think that Australia is just some tropical paradise, tropical, hot place all year round. Well, that is not the case depending on where you're living. And this is the state next door to where I am at the moment. I'm in South Australia. This is in Victoria. And as you can see, yes, it snows and it gets very, very cold. So today's video is mainly dedicated to type 1 diabetes, and I just want to share some information and some footage that I've found on type 1 diabetes. And I think it's really going to help a lot of you out there because there's heaps of misinformation out there when it comes to carbohydrates and diabetes type 1 and 2. So I really hope you find this information helpful.
I just ran all the way home to get my camera to film this echidna. Where is he, Vicky? Little spiky creature. Vixie's trying to smell her butt, of course. Hello, little one. Hey. Vixie. You go on the road. Look at this little face. Thinks he's had enough. Have you found any good ants?
Okay, Fruit Bats, so we've got this choc raspberry rocket smoothie. It is so amazing. It's going to blow your mind. You really got to try it. It's beautiful. And I know some of you are like, but you don't have chocolate, Freelee. And you know what? I don't have chocolate, but if I'm going to have a drop of chocolate kind of essence in a smoothie, I'm okay with that. It doesn't give me any bad reaction or anything like that. It's just a little bit of flavor. So I'm going to go with that. And we've got dates, about 20 medjool dates in there, and about 1.8 quarts or litres of water, and we've got coconut sugar. We're going to blend it all up. It's going to be super yum. Stay tuned. Okay, anybody else excited for a taste test? This is looking amazing. Okay, time for a little tester. Oh my goodness, that is seriously one of the best combos. That's amazing. If you've got chocolate cravings, you need to hit the choc raspberry Datorade as soon as you can because this is amazing. I haven't had chocolate cravings in over 7.5 years, and I used to be the biggest chocoholic around. I'm talking 1 or 2 blocks in one sitting. So this is definitely going to satisfy your cravings because you're getting all that good sugar to your cells and you don't look elsewhere in junk food for that sugar. So get onto the choc raspberry Datorade. I'm going to finish the rest of this now. Okay, so on to the subject of today's video, which is a response video to My Drunk Kitchen, Diabetes Kitchen. And you might be like, what the heck are you talking about, My Drunk Diabetes Kitchen? Well, there is a channel called myharto, and there's a lady on there who has this series called My Drunk Kitchen, and she had her sister on for an episode the other day, and her sister is a type 1 diabetic. So here is the footage now.
Maggie, what is type 1 diabetes?
Type 1 diabetes is when you are insulin dependent, which means that your pancreas doesn't produce insulin.
Now, why would a pancreas need to produce insulin?
Pancreases...
Pancreas?
Those things need to make insulin so that your cells can take in all of the carbs that you're eating and convert it into energy so that your body doesn't die.
Cool! Now, when you say carbs, you mean like bread, right?
Well, yeah, but also juice, some fruits, some vegetables, lots of bread, cereal.
That sounds awful. What on earth is a diabetic supposed to eat that is carb-free?
Well, you can eat a caprese salad with chicken.
Chicken caprese? Boy, would I!
As well as many other things. You can technically eat everything you want as long as you're medicating yourself properly with your insulin.
So there's a lot of misinformation out there demonizing carbohydrates when it comes to diabetes type 1 and 2. Things like saying avoiding carbohydrates is good and that carbohydrates always raise insulin levels higher than animal products, that sort of thing. So I thought the following information would be very handy for Maggie, Hannah's sister, who you just saw in the video there. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by the Department of Biochemistry at the University of Sydney, Australia, found that beef raised insulin levels more than white pasta and that fish raised them more than whole grain bread. When compared with rises in glucose levels, beef raised insulin levels 27 times higher than brown rice did. Isn't that just amazing? You know, we've always been taught, avoid the pasta. Pasta's going to be worse than animal products when it comes to diabetes. You know what? There's a lot of misinformation out there and you really have to do your own research. And I've got a little bit of a segment here from Neil Bernard. He has a book called Reversing Diabetes and he presents a scientifically proven method of reversing type 2 diabetes and managing type 1 diabetes on a high-carb vegan lifestyle.
In diabetes, there's too much sugar in the blood. And up until now, people with diabetes have said, well, too much sugar in my blood, don't eat sugar. Well, we reasoned that in countries like China, Japan, Thailand, Cambodia, where it's a very high carbohydrate diet but a very low fat diet, given that they have the lowest diabetes rates in the world, we thought it's not carbohydrate. The problem has to do with fat. Those fats get into the cells that causes that insulin resistance, so the diet should be getting the fat out of the cells so insulin can work again. Type 2 diabetes used to be called adult onset. The problem is that the insulin, which is this hormone that acts like a key to let the sugar out of the blood into the muscle cells, where it can power your movements, that insulin key isn't working very well. Starting in 2003, the US government funded my team to test a totally vegan diet. I'm talking about no animal products at all, but it wasn't a low-carb diet at all. People could eat rice and pasta all they wanted, and it worked dramatically well, better than a more conventional diabetes diet. People lost weight, their blood sugars came down, their cholesterols fell, and oddly enough, they found it easier to follow this kind of diet because we didn't make them count calories. They could eat as much as they wanted. Type 1 diabetes used to be called childhood onset. The cells that make insulin are dead. And so if a person already has type 1 diabetes, if you put them on a healthy vegan diet, that will reduce the likelihood of complications. There are researchers who now believe that one of the big triggers for type 1 diabetes is dairy products. It turns out that proteins in cow's milk, the body recognizes them as foreign proteins. The body makes antibodies to destroy them. Those same antibodies then destroy the insulin-producing cells in the pancreas. And there's a major study right now that's nailing down whether, if kids are breastfed and they are not given a cow's milk protein at all during infancy, that we might be able to reduce the risk of type 1 diabetes. The evidence so far says that's exactly right.
And you might be wondering how fruit plays into all this and how the high fruit lifestyle and raw till 4 lifestyle works with diabetes. Well, we have a number of people who have overcome their type 2 diabetes on the high fruit raw till 4 lifestyle. And we also have type 1 diabetics who are thriving on this lifestyle. Next up, I'm going to introduce you to my friend Robbie, who I met last year in New York City. He is a type 1 diabetic and he's been thriving on the high fruit lifestyle for years and years. So I just wanted to show you a day in his life when it comes to insulin and fruit and how he manages his type 1 diabetes.
All right, here we go. In today's video, I'm going to walk through a day of managing type 1 diabetes on a fruit-based diet. So I'm going to cover everything I ate, all the blood sugar readings, and all the insulin injections that I took throughout the day. At 8:45 a.m. I woke up and my blood sugar was 113. So we're off to a pretty good start. I drink some water, I head outside, and I start a workout at 9:15. I did a 30-minute P90 X3 workout. After the workout at 9:45 a.m. my blood sugar was 138, so it went up a little bit. That's expected, no worries. I took 10 units of Humalog insulin, and 1 unit was for a correction and 9 was for my breakfast. And then I waited 30 minutes to eat my breakfast. So I went home, I prepared the food, and then I biked to work. So I started eating at 10:15, so that's 30 minutes after I took the insulin. That's really important for following a fruit-based diet for type 1 diabetics. So I always wait at least 15 minutes, or at least I try to always wait 15 minutes. And then if the blood sugar is a little bit high, I give it some more time. So in this case, I took 30 minutes. Lunch was amazing. The jackfruit I prepared the night before, it was just really good. I love jackfruit. And I had 295 carbs. So that is a 1 to 33 insulin to carb ratio. And at 12 o'clock, my blood sugar was 141. So that's off a little bit. I took 1 unit of Humalog for a correction. And at 120, that brought my blood sugar down to 96. So at that time, I took my insulin for lunch, which was 9 units of Humalog for a ridiculously amazing lunch. Every meal is amazing. It's like dessert on this diet. Every meal. 282 carbs, so a 1 to 32 insulin to carb ratio for that lunch. I bike home for lunch each day. So I biked home and then I biked back. So that's certainly every little bit of exercise helps for blood sugar management. At 340, I was 108, so that lunch ratio was pretty good. At 550, my blood sugar was 123, and I took 5 units of Humalog for this dinner meal. I'll tell you what, this dinner, another ridiculous meal. This has got sword lettuce in it, which is really unique. I don't know how to describe the flavor. I gotta get better at that. Romaine lettuce, yellow nectarines, cherry tomatoes, Atalfo mangoes, and Meridol papaya. Really, really good salad. That was 182 carbs, so the insulin to carb ratio was 1 to 36. All right, so I did some more work at the office, and then I biked home, and when I got home, I took a little break, and then did a little more computer work. So at 10:50, my blood sugar was 99. So the insulin to carb ratio for that dinner meal was a success, and I took my long-acting insulin right before I went to bed. That was 18 units of Lantus, 9 units in one butt cheek, and 9 units in the other. So I'm splitting up that shot now. And that's the day. That's how I do it. And every day is a little different. That's part of the disease. You gotta make adjustments. You can't do the same thing every day, eat at the same time, do the same amount of exercise. Nobody does that.
Okay, Fruit Bats, so I hope that was helpful. If you know anyone who has type 1 or type 2 diabetes, then definitely share this video with them. And recommend they get the book, Dr. Neil Bernard's Program for Reversing Diabetes. It's 3 times more effective than other diet plans, and it's scientifically proven system for reversing diabetes without drugs. We love that, without drugs and with carbs. And please take a moment to subscribe to Robbie's channel. It's only a new channel, but he's already got a lot of great information on there, so please go over there and encourage him. And that's it. It's time for me to go, Fruit Bats, so have a great weekend. Don't forget to go fruit or root yourself, and I'm going to get in bed because I've been having some pretty late nights movie editing, so it's time for me to hit the hay. So I will see you Monday.